was really happy with last week's corrections. If I'm being honest, it was probably top 10 all time for me. And I want next week to be really good. Thanksgiving corrections, my whole family will be here. So what I'm getting at is this week is kind of primed to be a dud. People continue to be disappointed that I still haven't been hit by the third sandwich and that the failure to be hit with a third sandwich is a violation of the rule of threes. I'm equally disappointed. We did some digging. We found out what's going on is the Trump Justice Department is not enforcing the rule of threes. You know, I just didn't think they would come for comedy rules like this, but they are. Also, I guess they just put out a memo that moving forward, tragedy plus time equals more tragedy. Speaking of sandwiches, I said I was opening a sandwich place called Hoagie's Heroes. Somebody said, "Oh my God, you should call it this." But like, Hoagie's Gyros doesn't make sense. All tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are catapults. So there's been a lot written about how linear television ratings are in decline across all television, but late night as well. What's been nice is there's never been a decline in our in-studio audience. Full house every night. But now I fear, might be at risk. Because on any given night, I can tell that half of the audience is here for, you know, my trenchant political commentary. And the other half are women of a certain age who are here to ogle our stage manager, Steve. And now, Steve is off the market. And so I'm a little bit worried that his fans, the Batista Brigista, as they call themselves, are going to stop showing up. Or at least I was worried. I was worried, briefly, because it turns out there's some new eye candy on the scene. Someone saw an opening to be the new hot guy, and they took it. That's right. Lloyd is filling the void. Lloyd saw this coming. Lloyd heard Steve was putting a ring on it, and Lloyd got things tight. Lloyd looks great. Lloyd's lost like 20 pounds, which is like 30 for him because, you know, the camera adds 10. A lot of people are saying, but Seth, you said Steve's off the market because he got engaged. Lloyd's happily married, you know? Why is he on the market? Well, here's the problem. And I feel like as a shoemaker, you should probably talk to Lloyd. Because Lloyd said to me, he's like, no, I explained to my wife that I wanted an open relationship. But like, you can't understand Lloyd. He probably said open relationship and she thinks the oven needs maintenance. And I'm like, Lloyd, are you sure she knows? He's like, well, it's crystal clear. I'm like, what? I mean, even for like months, he's like, I'm gonna be a third strap. And then he's like, a third strap? And I'm like, oh, a thirst trap. We talked about how Al Pacino, the Talk Hua guy, I am gonna make that work. I'm not giving up on that. Was the voice of the Kool-Aid Man. There are obviously many other voices of the Kool-Aid Men over the years. People sent me like 8 or 9. You know, after Pacino, obviously Ray Liotta did it. I mean, we know these things. Not one guy doesn't do it forever. We made a joke about New Jersey being the bird being a goldfinch, and then you know, I put a gold chain on it. But then I was told that this is actually not a photo of a goldfinch. This is a zebra finch. Of course, not to be confused with a New Jersey zebra finch, which is a goldfinch that wears a zebra print shirt. Do you want to know what the call of a New Jersey zebra finch is? Alex, can you play it?
Chirp, chirp, oh my God.
You know, I had some you know, again, I don't want to brag, but like probably the best literary reference comedy you're going to see on TV is in The Body of Corrections. Because this inspired some of the jackals to take a run at it as well. Someone said if your audience doesn't get the Russian literary references, they can always Google them. It's not just literary. I do a lot of good art stuff, too. That's going to be the payoff of this next bit. I said a Reuben sandwich had Russian dressing. I was told it was Thousand Island. I actually looked into it. Either work. But in doing my research, I discovered some other things about Reubens that I thought would be fun to share. A tiny Reuben sandwich, right? Like sort of a finger sandwich you would get, maybe at a past plate, a past app at a party. Shoemaker loves a past app party. A tiny Reuben sandwich is called a Paul Reuben, you know, because it's Pee-wee. That's not to be confused with a Peter Paul Reuben, which is a Reuben that has a
great ass!
And that's not for everybody here, but I mean, I feel like, you know, for people at the Louvre right now when they're watching this, they're gonna love that, and they need a laugh right now. After the month they've had. People stealing tiaras, stealing crowns with a truck-mounted ladder. Leave them alone! I said that you can make a Venn diagram, which is like a Venn diagram showing the relation of sketches Ben wrote versus sketches Ben is in. Someone said that is not accurate. That would be an Euler diagram, which is when you have one is fully contained. So that is, and I also want to say thank you for telling me it's pronounced. A jackal actually was helpful, which is they said that's an Euler diagram, and then they said it's not pronounced the way it spells, which is, I would not have pronounced it Euler based on the spelling, which was this. So anyway, so this is a Euler diagram based on things Ben writes for our show. Obviously, there's a different diagram for things Ben writes for his work outside the show, and that would be this diagram. Available on Vimeo? Who here is driving home? Because you're going to get that Peter Paul Reuben joke on the way home. See me next week.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
I know I'd go from rags to riches.